Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. I hope you guys are enjoying your Labor Day weekend and the final weekend without professional football. And we got college football yesterday, but this is the last Sunday we're not going to have NFL football on until like February. So that's exciting. The countdown's real. We're 7 days away from the Ravens playing the Houston Texans, and it's got me thinking how much we're about to shock the league because there's no film on this team. I've touched on this briefly in a few videos, but I really wanted to sit down and make this a point. There's no film on this Ravens offense. We're bringing the defense back, the majority of the defense back, so we got a little film and understanding of maybe what that scheme looks like. But this offense is kind of unknown to us and to the league, most importantly, right? Like, unknown to the fans is not a big deal. But how can opponents prepare, such as the Houston Texans week 1, when you've never seen Todd Monken's Baltimore Ravens offense? You've never seen Odell or Bateman or Zay Flowers or Nelson Aguilar in this offense with Lamar Jackson, who hasn't played an NFL game since last November against the Denver Broncos when he got hurt. This is going to take some time for the league to catch up to, and I'm not sure if they can this year, and I think that's why there's so many comparisons from this season to 2019. We didn't know 2019 was coming. We were excited about the team, but we did not expect before that season to be 14-2 and Lamar be a unanimous MVP. But now we're kind of expecting some success. We've seen what the Greg Roman Baltimore Ravens offense was at first and how much it did shock the league. All those blocking schemes. Our run game was probably the greatest run game. Actually, I'm not even going to say probably. It was the greatest run game in the history of football. We broke the single season rushing record. It was the greatest run game ever. But that stalled out, and when you weren't growing the pass game and in combination didn't have enough weapons over the past few years, and obviously had a lot of bad injury luck too, but all of that just created a very stale offense. It was miserable to watch the Ravens offense last year. I mean, it was really tough to watch. And that's gone. Greg Roman's gone. We brought in Todd Monken, who has plenty of NFL experience, plenty of coaching experience, but most recently was at Georgia. He won 2 national championships and led a very innovative offense. Go watch Georgia attack other teams, and Todd Monken's the one who created that scheme in his play calling. And his play calling doesn't get talked about enough either. He knows how to adapt to what the defense is giving you. And with all of the weapons that we now have, we're able to attack based on situations, based on certain matchups, or create those matchups. Get Zay Flowers lined up against a safety or a linebacker in the slot and run a quick out or a zig route and get him open in some space and let him use his elite run after the catch ability to go make plays. We just didn't have that last year. We didn't have those playmakers, nor did we have the design. Our passing game was extremely basic, elementary, and then combine that with receivers who just couldn't beat single coverage. They just weren't skilled enough. It was just a terrible combination, but now I think we have the perfect combination. You bring in an offensive coordinator who's bringing new stuff to the NFL. He has an innovative passing game. There's a different game going on in college a little bit. You don't get to see a lot of that. And we can bring some ideas from college, which is always the new wave of the NFL at some point anyway. Before there was like barely any running quarterbacks and it didn't work, you know, and then now every quarterback's got mobility. If you don't have mobility, you're a liability. The game's always changing, and Todd Monken's going to bring something new to the NFL. and he's going to bring something new to the Baltimore Ravens. And then you add in all of these weapons. Eric DeCosta overhauled this entire receiving core. We go from Bateman, who got hurt last year, and I still believe in Bateman, but when Bateman went down, we were with Robinson and Duvernay and Prochet, and it just didn't work at all. Those guys just aren't good enough. I love Duvernay, but he can't be a number 1, number 2 receiver. Not in that Greg Roman offense, at least. Maybe give him a chance in his Todd Monken offense. I've seen Duvernay make plays. I know he's capable of making plays. I think he was a little banged up last year too, so I don't want to be too hard on him. But regardless, he disappeared. And it might have been Greg Roman just not designing enough for him. But if you're that guy, you got to find a way. I just don't know how you prepare for this Baltimore Ravens offense. The Texans are going in blind week 1. And obviously, week after week, teams are going to have a little bit more film. They're going to be able to prepare a little bit more, but it takes time. I remember other teams in our division, Steelers, Bengals, said that they were dedicating weeks just to stop the Baltimore Ravens' unique offense and run game at the time. The power run game and the read option with Lamar, and there were teams dedicating time just to be able to stop that. We heard, who's the spy in camp this week? Nobody can replicate Lamar. The run game was so unique that teams were dedicating time to it. And then years go by and we really don't change a lot and our pass game doesn't develop at all. And then teams started to figure us out a little bit more. They started to really stack the box and blitz a lot more and double, triple team Mark Andrews. And we started to struggle. You know what I mean? There was nowhere to go with the ball. The receivers couldn't beat single coverage. And I just think those days are completely gone. There's no way that the receiving core that we have right now isn't beating single coverage, at least on most guys. And I don't want to say it's going to be easy, but it's going to be a lot easier than it was. With all of the talent around, Lamar doesn't have to do the spectacular all the time. He can just dump the ball down, a little 5-yard catch to Zay Flowers. And like I said, his run after the catch ability can take over. If no one's open downfield, I bet you J.K. Dobbins is open in the flat just to check it down and get 8 yards. And now we're in a 2nd and 2, a 3rd and 2, and we can run and have the ability to go for it. And now there's so many more options, We're still going to run the ball a lot, and I believe that we already have the ability to have a successful run game. This line has been blocking in one of the greatest run schemes of all time. And I know we're going to be able to run the ball. We got really talented backs. We have a really talented offensive line. And having a successful run game now is really just going to open up the pass game. It's going to really increase the success of play action. People are going to be biting on the run and then really left behind with a bunch of talented weapons running downfield. Mark Andrews is going to have a lot more space than he's used to. Even if teams try to attack us defensively like they did last year in the beginning of the year, I could see that because they don't know what to do. So they're going to kind of prepare off what historically has worked for us. And then they might show a lot of attention to Andrews earlier in the season still. And, maybe spy Lamar and try and prevent him from running or whatever. But that's going to leave holes in your defense. Once you start seeing what Zay Flowers can do, what Odell still can do, what Bateman can do, you're going to have to change quickly. You're going to have to make in-game adjustments. And then guess what? Now the run game works a lot better. Now Mark Andrews is wide open down the field. And then you start really adjusting and focusing on that, and you have everybody backing up, and they're downfield in coverage. And now Lamar's got a ton of space to take off and freestyle and have these big runs and big plays to break the game open. The Ravens can just attack you from every single angle. I think the only thing working against us this year at all would be health. I believe if we stay healthy, our offense is going to be insanely explosive. We also have a really good defense. I'm pretty concerned about the cornerback spot right now. But if we can keep everyone healthy, get Marlon back, and then possibly make a trade before the trade deadline, I think we probably have enough to still compete for a Super Bowl. I think we still have a Super Bowl caliber defense, but I'm expecting a huge leap from our offense. I think our offense goes from below average last year, pretty bad to be honest with you. I know our run game was still solid. Lamar looked pretty good with Bateman earlier in the year. He had a couple good games before he got hurt. The Tampa Bay game sticks out to me when Mark went out and there was no Bateman and Lamar just made it happen. But I don't think Lamar's going to have to be Superman week in and week out for us to win games, for our offense to be able to score points. I think he's going to be able to let our weapons make plays more. And therefore, that takes a lot of pressure off his back. I hear a lot of people in the national media saying, it's all on Lamar now. It's all on Lamar. He has no excuses. You know, he got the bag. He got the weapons. He got the offensive coordinator. It's on Lamar now. And that is true. They have a point. I'm not saying that there are no excuses. I don't think there are. You know what I mean? If Lamar goes out there and he's throwing a bunch of interceptions and not making good reads and is very inaccurate, then yeah, that's his fault. That's on him. I don't expect that. But I think he's willing to absorb that pressure. And although they may be saying there's added pressure because it's all on him, I think the responsibility, to be honest with you, is less on him because he doesn't have to go and do something miraculous. He doesn't have to just take the game over with his legs. I'm sure he will do that when needed a few times throughout the season, but we have so many playmakers now that he can just make the right read. He can just check the ball down when nothing's open and let these guys work in space. And I think that that's just a beautiful, beautiful place for the Ravens to be in. And I'll tie back into the entire point of this video. No team has any film on this offense. We haven't seen the starting offense in the preseason at all. You know, there's no history of this offense on film anywhere. And that's always a great thing. You know, there might be some growing pains. Maybe we're a little sloppy to start the year because we didn't get any preseason reps. I wouldn't be shocked if the first half we start a little slow or make an error here and there. You know, I mean, those things are to be expected. We're not going to be in prime form until the latter half of the regular season. Every team is like that. You know what I mean? Every team comes in with something new people, new personnel, maybe a new coach, a new scheme, whatever. There's a lot of teams coming in with that. But the Ravens really had an offensive overhaul from coaching to personnel. And I think it's all positive. I think it's all in a very positive direction. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Next Sunday, we'll finally get to see it against the Texans. I'm always excited for the football season and the Ravens season regardless, right? Like, we could even not have a great team and I'd still be looking forward to watching games on Sunday. But there's just something different about this year. There's something special in the air. It might be the Odell signing and Zay Flowers, and Lamar's locked up now. He's not going anywhere. It's probably all of that combined. We went through hell last year watching this offense. Last offseason, basically thinking that Lamar's gone. He demands a trade on Twitter. I mean, it was looking bleak. It was looking bad. And then within like a month, it was like, wow. We got Odell, drafted Zay, and Lamar signed. And then Lamar's working out with Zay and Odell in the offseason, building a rapport with them, worked out with Nelson Aguilar. And it's just been all positive vibes since, and let's keep the train rolling. There's really no reason to be pessimistic about this team heading into this season. I know the cornerback situation is scary. I totally understand that. Our secondary may let up a little bit more points, but I think our offense takes a substantial leap. Towards the end of last season, our defense was holding teams to like 13 points a game, and we couldn't win. We couldn't even score 13. You know what I mean? Like, that was rough times. That can't happen this year. There's no way. Everyone would have to get hurt for us to not be able to score 13 points with this offense. I'd be shocked. And there's a bunch of guys on this offense that have a lot to prove. Odell hasn't played football. A lot of people saying, oh, he's injury prone, he can't come back. Same with Rashod Bateman. Oh, he's been hurt since he came in the league. Like, he's not going to be himself. Lamar Jackson, he hasn't finished the last 2 seasons. He's not successful in the postseason. He's inaccurate, inconsistent, whatever. You know, there's a million narratives, and I think that just adds chips onto a lot of these guys' shoulders, and I think they have something to prove, and they're ready to explode and shock the world this year. And with no film on this team, I don't know how you prepare for it. I think we have a huge edge heading into this season. I know we play the whole division on the road in the first 5 weeks, but it's a good time to get those road division games out. As long as our offense is kind of clicking, it's a good time because the Steelers have historically been able to really slow our offense down with Lamar, the old Greg Roman offense. But they don't know what's coming. There's just no way to prepare for this. Now, by the time we play them, they'll have a few weeks of tape, but the Ravens are also going to continuously roll out new concepts and ideas throughout the season as well. They're going to be adapting too. And with something so fresh and so new, there's a willingness to go shock the league and win a ton of games like we did in 2019. We went 14-2 because no one had seen a blocking scheme in a run game like that with a quarterback that can run better than anybody. No one had seen that before. And now we already have that in our arsenal, and now we're adding a ton of weapons and a really innovative passing game. It's going to be special, man. It's going to be a fun season. We just got to stay healthy. And we're 7 days away. Next Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff at the Bank versus the Houston Texans. I can't wait. I appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.